Hello everyone, Sean here, and I'm gonna be honest, it's my second time recording this. This is basically take two, because the first take was just, I was rambling. So, let's try this again. Alright, I have a theory. Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin theory. And here's the theory. Red and your character from Stories 2 are related to the to the protagonist of Stories 1. Now, before you sit there and go, oh, well, our character's a custom created character, they probably have no real correlation, there's actual proof in the pudding here. The proof I have here is, well, if you look at the design of the character from Stories 2, you know, the main, like, the character that they basically use for the trailers to convey your character, you know, the base character, so to speak. That character looks an awful lot like Lute from Stories 1. Lute, which is the base character for, you know, the base protagonist for that game, the main protagonist, he looks an awful lot like Lute. I think there might be some differences in the shading of hair or whatever. The literal only serious difference I could find was his eye color, which, again, that can easily be chalked to, well, like, his mother's gene or whatever. The Stories 2 protagonist's mother's gene. So I'm gonna just refer to, so I'm just gonna refer, from now on, I'm gonna refer to Red as Red Lute for the Stories 1 protagonist. That's basically what I'm gonna call him. Just gonna call him Lute, and I'm just gonna say Stories 2 protagonist for, like, or maybe I might just call him something else, or I don't know. I might just say, we'll call him Ruin. Yeah, Ruin. Yes, because Wings of Ruin. So here's how the story goes. During Red's time, when he was a young rider or whatever, you know, he had his adventures, you know, he went all over the world. And before the events of Stories 1, he probably found himself in Hakum Village. It's not clear yet if, like, I know for a fact he probably settled down there at some point. Maybe settled down, had a kid, and then went off to an adventure or something. Maybe he had a kid just before, you know, the event that probably led to him dying in Stories, you know, 2, before, like, our character was born. Because I really don't think that he, I don't know, really, because I want to say, I don't know what happened to Red specifically. Like, did he die of old age? Because he is portrayed as, like, an older, like, as old and gray, so like he is on the end of his lifespan. But I really just think he might have died beforehand, because I really just don't see him not being around for his family. But then again, he probably could have been. So basically, the theory goes, Red was having his adventures, having his, you know, fun, and eventually he stumbled across Hakum Village, fell in love with someone, and then, you know, had a kid. Now, he could have died, maybe flew off somewhere and, like, never came back, whatever, or, you know, whatever. Then that brings us to the events of Stories 2, or Stories 1, I'm sorry, where Lute has his adventures with Cheval, Lilia, all of them. And that's where, now, it's up until the end of the game where things kind of get a little bit sporadic. Like, because it's hard to pinpoint where anything is, because the only game we really know about right now is Stories 1. So after that game, I say, let's say, our character goes to, like, another rider village, and, you know, maybe does the same thing as Red does, you know, settles down, has a child, and then, you know, he flies off. You know, we're like, his, like, again, the end of the game literally tells you to follow your heart and explore the world, you know, like, I feel like that's what our character would be doing, exploring the world. So I think the theory I think that's kind of where the theory comes in at, because they don't specifically call out that Red is our father. I feel like, I know that my personal storytelling would be make him the father, you know, like, why is he the grandfather? But then again, when you think about it and you sit down and really analyze the thing, like, there's actually enough proof here. Now, something to disprove this theory is, like, if you look at Lilia and Avinia in the new trailers and stuff, and Navarro, they don't seem to age that much or at all, really. Like, you know, well, they did age because they're clearly older, but like, you could sit there and argue, well, they don't seem like they'd be old enough to have a child, let alone a child of the age that seems to be, like, the Stories 2 protagonist's age. They look like, honestly, older teenagers. And to that I say, they could be older than we initially think. Like, they could be in their, like, they could be having that, they could be old enough to have children. We just don't know. You know, they might have, because, like, again, our character from Stories 1 could have had a kid. It's not impossible. So we really don't know. And also, another thing is, that's another thing, Navarro. why isn't he with us, like the protagonist in stories 1? Like, what happened to us? That immediately tells me something must have happened to us to where he must have, like, we must have died. And he met, because if you notice at the end of the trailer, he says, he calls someone, I think, general or whatever. Oh, hold on, I should have had this pulled up. I'll worry about that later. But he calls someone general, so which means tell me something must have which tells me something happened between stories 1 and stories 2 that would kill off our character. Or they got separated from Navarro. I doubt we would just straight up die like that. And if you notice, Lilia is a lot more like, this is a bit of a side theory, but Lilia is a lot more like stone cold. I highly doubt she would take a Rathalos' way, especially considering one of her best friends, the protagonist, Lute, has a Rathalos. So I feel like it would be a little bit too much for her to just take. So I think there's got to be something more to that storyline. But back to the theory. Red traveled to Hakum, had Lute, left, died, whatever. Lute traveled to, I don't remember the name of the village in the game, forgive me. Had a kid, had Ruin, and then, you know, probably died or got, we know at the very least he got separated from Navarro, and Navarro becomes your god in stories 2. Hopefully he's less annoying. I mean, well, then again, the anime, he was annoying in the anime, which is another thing I want to touch upon. Anime. That is a completely different continuity entirely. There's more characters, or there's characters that don't appear in there, and so forth. So you could actually use that to just like figure out what happened if you want to. Like you could say, oh well, Red died with Cheval's dad, just like how it happened in the anime. But like, again, the anime and games are two different continuities that just have very similar events. Like for example, like Lily and Millet, I think Hero and I think, I don't know, remember their names. Like, there are 2 extra characters there to fluff out the story, and also Cheval doesn't leave immediately. Like, there's things there that happen differently. So, you know, the anime, you can kind of use to justify some stuff, but at the same time, take that with a grain of salt. But I really want this to be the theory, and here's another little headcanon-y thing for you. If you look at the eye color of the protagonist, Ruin, the story's 2 protagonist, you notice that he has the same eye color as Avinia. Now, before y'all sit there and come at me with pitchforks and torches, I'm just saying it'd be a funny little haha. Oh, like Avinia is your mother or whatever. Like she got together with the story's 2 protagonists, or the story's 1 protagonist. She got together with Lute, which I think would be pretty funny. And honestly, the anime did seem like it was, well, not really hinting at it, but like it did seem like there was a little bit something there. Even in the games, it seemed like that. But the only characters that like, and another character, so like, I might just have like another video of what I want to see in stories 2, but basically Red is the father of Lute. That I think is, we do at least know that Ruin and Red are grandfather grandson. We know that for sure. So that's locked. That's done. It's just, where does our stories where does the stories, you know, the story of stories 1, fit in there? Because it's got to be something there, right? It's got to be. Because when you do it could really happen. Because I really feel like they are old enough to have children here. Because I really feel like Lilia is old enough to have a child here. But the thing is, her age, I don't really know her age that well. So it's like, I don't know, but I don't really know her definitive age and stuff. So for all we know, we could think she's a teenager and she could be much older, and vice versa. So again, we don't know. And also, Frostfang is still there with Avinia, like, and Simone. We haven't even seen Captain Simone, who was the leader of the Scriveners. And we've seen Riverto, and Riverto doesn't even look that much older. So, again, take everything with a grain of salt. Riverto didn't even age, I don't even think. So, I hope that this is the case. And if not, I do hope that there's some sort of like Easter egg explaining that. Because my friend Jacob, he said, and I quote, it'd be funny if she, like, you know, if Lilia said, you remind me of a friend I once had who also rode a Rathalos, which I think they might do something like that. Or, and here's what I'm personally hoping they do, they can go above and beyond to where, like, they could have a rider show up in Rathalos gear and have that as a stand-in for, like, your father. You know, like, just cover his face with Rathalos gear, have a Rathalos in there with a scar over its eye, just like how it did in the first game. And boom, like, that could easily be our Lute stand-in. You can even call him question mark, right? And then then you can even say like, oh well, that was either your father or, like, you know, your father or mother based on, like, you know, the gender of your character in game. I think that'd be cool. You know, just a little something, something. But yeah, I'll elaborate more on that. I might make a video for Cheval, like where he's probably at in stories too, and what form we'll see him in, and what form our rider character would be in from stories 1 as well. But yeah, now this is pretty much all there is to the theory, really. There's not really much to it, but if you want to discuss more, feel free to do so in the comment section or whatever. Like the video, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. But yeah, the question I have here for everyone: do you think this theory is true? Do you think that Red is Lute's father, and do you think Lute is Ruin's father? You know, the story's two protagonists. I think so, and I want this to be the case because I feel like it would be a really cool thing in continuity, and also, when you think about that, that would be an awesome twist to have for the games, you know? Like, that would be a dope twist. Like, I would be genuinely shocked if this theory was true, and if it is true, you will see a video on this channel and be like, I told y'all, yeah, I did this. And, yeah, so, but I think that, I think this theory holds water. I think so. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please, by all means, if you think I'm wrong, tell me. I want to hear your side of things, because I feel like this is something that this is just I want to discuss with everyone else here, basically. So yeah, just tell me if you think I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I got stuff to do. This is Sean signing off. Signing off. I'm looking forward to stories too. I'm a huge Stories fan. I love the original game. I play it through all the time. I still play it to this day on my 3DS. Or my 2DS, but you know. And yeah, I love these games. So I really want this series to be true just for some continuity. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye!